Okay, let's us consider the different ways in which we classify power audits. There are different ways we classify power audits. One of such way is by classifying power audits as a residential power audit. What do we mean by a residential power audit? The residential power audit is the type or the class of power audits in which the power audit is carried out on a residential building. Most times, living apartment don't have too much or bigger size of electrical load or the system size that is normally installed on a residential building is not as big as that in which we install on a commercial or an industrial facility. So that is one class of power audit. We have another one as a commercial power audits. There are power audits that are carried out in commercial buildings like the banks, the supermarkets, and other commercial facilities. They make use of heavy loads. You cannot think of installing solar system in a commercial building and you are thinking of installing a 3 kVA or a 5 kVA system. But when you are talking about a residential building, you can install a 3.5, a 3 kVA, a 5 kVA, 10 kVA system. Whereas the case is different when you are talking about a commercial facility. Then we equally have industrial power audits. It is that power audit that is carried out in an industrial facility, or if you want to power an entire community. This is that type or that class of power audit that is known as industrial power audit. You use different approach to address the different types of or classification of power audit. Let's consider, at least you want to go for power audit. Let us just briefly expose you to some of the tools that you will need. There are numerous tools, but we just narrow it to very few because we will talk about solar tools as we move to maybe the paid version of this training. We will deliberate on all the solar tools that you can ever think of. But now we are just narrowing it down to the ones we use basically for power audits. You cannot go for power audit and you roll out your writing materials, your pen and your notebook, just for the purpose of writing, taking in data, and for documentation drawing. Then we think, or when you are talking about power audits, we are going for power audits. You cannot do without your clamp meter. This is your clamp meter. What is the purpose of this clamp meter? It is used for measuring electrical parameters. When we move to the paid version of this training, how to use each of these solar tools accessories you will be exposed to. This is your digital caliper. When you are talking about the roof, you want to mount solar panels on top of the roof. You need to know the roof gauge. It's very important. You have to be sure of the roof gauge that you have to install the solar panel. We'll talk about the roof at length when we get to that particular concept. So here we are just listing the solar tools that are used during power audit exercise, and the digital caliper is one of them. What is the digital caliper used for? It is used to measure roof gauge. Then we have the digital compass. This is your digital compass. When you are going for power audits, you need to know your direction, the sun path, the geographical area, and the instrument that you use in doing all those things is called the digital compass. Most times, well, I won't say you can do without it. So another very important tool that you can always take along with you is your measuring tape, because you are going to take dimension, you are going to know the length of the roof, the roof dimension, you are going to know the powerhouse dimension, you are going to know the length of cable, that so you certainly need the measuring tape. What is the measuring tape used for? Just to take measurement. So those are some of the electrical tools that you will need when you are embarking on power audits. Then the next thing would be, let us take a closer look at a step-by-step approach for conducting solar power audit. There are stages, there are the chronological order in which you follow when you are embarking on a power audit. That is the reason we use this diagram to show you that A, B, C, D, E. There are different stages and steps you have to follow. You don't have to, you can jump the step, but make sure that you don't miss any of those steps. We are saying that though this list may not be followed chronologically, but it's important to not to miss or skip any of the steps when embarking on any size of solar power audit. So that is what we are saying.